The Ford Falcon has a very colourful history. In the 50 years it has been on sale in Australia, and choosing the most influential and important models during that time is very difficult. So, we thought we would chat with Wheels motoring journalist Peter Robinson. With nearly 50 years in the industry, he is one of the most well-respected automotive journalists in the world and has road-tested almost every Ford Falcon imaginable. We asked his thoughts on the most influential Ford Falcons since its introduction 50 years ago.
So this is the first Ford Falcon, the XK, introduced in Australia September 1960. Ford had made the decision they had to choose between a British Zephyr and the American Falcon, and of course they chose the Falcon, but they improved upon it, and we ended up with the XM XP Falcons having really solid, reliable Australian family cars. But this is a beautiful piece of styling. Styled in America, there's a lot of lovely detail on it. It's a very, very nice looking car even today. Well, thank goodness they didn't choose the Zephyr, because the Zephyr was more expensive to build. It was heavier, it was an older design. It was really a facelift of the existing Mark II Zephyr. Ford would not have achieved the success they achieved in Australia if they had taken the Zephyr option. 1966 XR Falcon, Mustang bred Falcon. This car was designed in the United States, but it was the car that forced Holden to react. Holden had a car coming 2 years later. They made it bigger because this car was bigger. It introduced an affordable V8 to the Australian family motorist. It was a fabulous car. It's the car that saved Ford in Australia. This is a car I road tested in 1970. I compared it with an XU1 Tirana and a Valiant Pacer. And this is the Phase 2 GTHO. It was the wild one. It was a pure race car. Very little refinement, just lots and lots of grunt. This is the 1979 XD Falcon, designed in Australia, largely by Australians. A fabulous design job, and very interesting because what the designers wanted to do and fought to do against the influences within Ford which wanted to look American, they lowered the belt line and they separated the belt line from the base of the back window and the windscreen. And it means that this glass is wonderful. You can see out of this car, and it meant that it was a beautifully squared off, very elegant car for the time. A beautiful Ford Falcon. This, to my eyes, is the best looking Falcon relevant to the time. It was designed, styled by a bloke called Clive Potter, who is a genius. Designed in Australia and was considered within the Ford world the best looking Ford of this class, size, and in research in Europe beat out BMW, beat out Audi, beat out Opel, beat out Mercedes-Benz. Took the badges off it, presented this car, and this was the car Europeans voted for as being the most beautiful car at that time. And I don't disagree with it. It's a lovely, lovely, clean, elegant piece of design. 2002 Falcon BA. The rushed successor to the AU, which Australians didn't take to. The BA came along, it was a little bit more conservative, but it was good enough after a 36-year drought to win the Wheels Car of the Year award. This was the best Australian family car at the time, no question, absolutely no question. Terrific car. This is today's Falcon, the FG, and it is the version which has what I think is the best drivetrain in Australia. It's a turbocharged 4-litre inline 6-cylinder engine tied to a beautiful 6-speed automatic transmission that makes this car just an outstanding Australian car. Today's Falcon, nowhere in the world do you get more car and more sophistication for what this car costs you. A European rival that offers anything like the same level of equipment and sophistication is going to cost you at least twice that amount of money. So we offer value for money. Our Australian cars still offer value for money. They are ideally suited to this country.
Make sure you grab a copy of the Bumper July edition of Wheels, Australia's original motoring magazine. It features a compelling history of the uniquely Australian Ford Falcon, from the early days of the fragile XK Falcon to the glory days of Alan Moffat's victory at the mountain in the thundering Phase 3 GTHO, and much, much more. Celebrate Falcon's 50th with the July edition of Wheels.
In 50 years, mate,